Hello and welcome to our video lesson dedicated to the basics of video shooting. In this lesson, we'll go over key elements that will help you create professional looking videos. We'll start with the different types of footage and how they affect the viewer's perception. Then we'll explore camera movements that add dynamic and emotion to your video. We will also discuss the basic rules of composition that ensure balance and aesthetics in every shot. Finally, we'll turn our attention to shooting angles that can highlight important details and add different feels and perspectives. Whether you're a beginner or have experience creating videos, this tutorial will give you helpful tips and techniques to improve your skills. Let's get started with different types of shots. These determine how much of the actors and setting will be seen in the shot. The wide shot shows the actors in full length and the setting they're in. It is usually used in the opening shots so that the viewer can orient themselves to where the action is taking place. In the cowboy shot, the actors are seen from the knees up. This shot is called that way because it was used most often in American westerns, where actors were shot this way so the holster of the gun is visible in the frame before the character draws and fires it. The medium shot is the shot where the actor is seen from the waist up. It is used to focus the viewer's attention on what is happening between the characters in the frame. In it, the actor's gestures are distinguishable, but facial expressions do not reach the viewer. Close-up is used to show the emotions of the character. When it is used in video productions, the viewer is left with the feeling that the actor is saying something directed to them. The close-up covers only the actor's face or another part of his body. As a modification of this close-up is the so-called extreme close-up, in which close-up details of the person in front of the camera or the surroundings are visible. These two plans add more drama to what is happening. These are not all the shots that the cameraman can use. In editing, different shots are alternated to make the video more dynamic. You have to always pay attention to the shots you select to use in your edits. There is one basic rule: never put two similar shots one after the other. Doing so would cause a jump in the frame that would distract the viewer from what is happening in the action. The best way is to alternate shots. For example, after the wide shot, one could insert a medium shot of the actor and then a close-up or a cowboy shot. Therefore, during filming, one should plan exactly in which shot the individual lines of the characters should be filmed. When talking about camera movement in videography, there are two main types: optical and mechanical movement. Both types refer to what the viewer will see of the movement in the frame, not what the cameraman will do with the camera during filming. Optical movements are related to camera lens movement. They are used to create dynamics and focus in the frame by changing the scale and perspective without any actual physical camera movement. Optical zooming, or zooming out, is accomplished by adjusting the focal length of the lens. Zooming in accentuates a specific detail or emotion, while zooming out reveals more of the scene, putting the subject in context. Changing the focus from one subject to another within the frame draws attention to important elements and creates a smooth transition between different points of interest. Changing the depth of field is achieved by adjusting the aperture or focus distance. The cameraman can control how much of the frame remains in focus. This helps to isolate subjects or create a sense of space and perspective. Physical camera movements are techniques in which the camera itself is moved through space to create dynamics, perspective, and emotional impact on the viewer. They add depth and realism to the footage, allowing for better tracking of the action and accentuation of details. A horizontal pan, also known as pan, is a movement in which the camera rotates left or right to reveal a new part of the scene, to redirect attention from one subject to another, or to track the movement of an object in the frame. A vertical pan, also known as tilt, is a vertical upward or downward movement that is used to emphasize the height of an object. or to examine its parts in detail. In both panoramic movements, the camera must start from a static frame and end with one. In the films you have watched, you must have been impressed by the movement where the camera moves parallel to the character or object. There are several ways to achieve this moment. Tracking in a shot of a person not running away is usually done by having the camera moving along a pre-established track. In the last 10 years, however, this approach has been used less. It has been replaced by the use of a stabilizing device called a Steadicam. It is mounted to the cameraman's body and allows the camera to hold a stabilized shot of the subject, even as the cameraman runs with it. There is one movement that is unique in its nature. It combines optical and physical camera movement. This is the famous dolly zoom. This movement creates a sense of stretching or shrinking of space. It is often used for dramatic or emotional impact. This effect is achieved by physically moving the camera forward or backward and moving the vario the opposite direction of the movement. For example, it moves away when the camera moves forward or closer when the camera moves back. It's time to talk about the composition of the shot that holds the viewer's attention. Composition is the relative placement of actors, objects and surroundings in the frame. It sets the mood and directs the viewer's attention. There are a number of compositional techniques that achieve this, but it's good to know at least some of the basics which we'll introduce now. Let's start with the rule of thirds. In this, two horizontal lines are mentally constructed through the frame so as to divide the frame into three equal parts. Then, another two lines are constructed vertically so that they again divide the frame into three equal parts. The intersections of these four lines form the so-called focal points. These are where the focus of the frame should be positioned. When it is the human figure in the middle or American shot, it is here that his head should be placed. When we have a shot with a wide shot, or it is along the lines that the object should be positioned. The rule of thirds directs the viewer's eye and creates dynamics in the frame by avoiding the central placement of the subject. It is actively used in interview shoots. The leading lines rule is a technique in shot composition that uses lines, shapes, or elements in the scene to direct the viewer's gaze to the main subject or point of interest in the action. These lines can be roads, fences, rails, stairs, or even shadows that naturally lead the eye through the frame. This technique creates depth perspective and a sense of movement in the image, making the composition more compelling and dynamic. Leading lines are widely used in film arts to highlight important events and engage the viewer's attention. This compositional technique is often used to create a sense of infinity in the frame. Framing is a technique in shot composition in which natural or artificial elements are used to create a visual frame around the main subject. This technique directs the viewer's attention and emphasizes the importance of the element being filmed. Examples of framing include doors, windows, arches, tree branches, or shadows. In addition to accentuating the subject, framing adds depth, perspective, and context to the scene, creating more impactful and memorable footage. Center composition is a compositional technique in video filmmaking in which the main subject is placed in the center of the frame. It creates a sense of symmetry, balance, stability, drawing attention directly to the focus of the frame. This approach is particularly effective in scenes that highlight the importance of a character or detail, as well as in moments of drama and emotional tension. The central composition is often used in educational videos, interviews, and artistic shots to convey power and suggestiveness. This was a brief introduction to camera shots, camera movements, and the rules of composition in the frame. We hope this lesson has inspired you to experiment and apply what you've learned to your projects. If the topic has intrigued you, continue to explore additional techniques such as balance, depth of field, and perspective. Thank you for being with us.